Hello internet world, how's everyone doing today? I'm having an awesome day, and today we got a very special head-to-head video. We got the iRobot Roomba i4 Plus versus Yeedi Vac Station. Despite being very similar in price, they're very different. Let's start with the Yeedi Vac Station. The first thing you may notice is the live mapping capabilities. Yes, this robot vacuum has the ability to create maps, very similar to the i4 Plus, but unlike the i4 Plus, you can see exactly where the robot vacuum's been and where it needs to clean. Also, you can select areas and create rooms with the Yeedi Vac Station. Now, the i4 Plus doesn't have these capabilities, but both robot vacuums do offer the ability to go back to the docking station to recharge up and resume. Okay, so despite the Roomba i4 Plus not having all the features that the Yeedi Vac Station offers, well, there's one thing that the Roomba has, and that's the dirt detection sensor. So in this messy challenge I did in my previous video, which I'm going to showcase here in this video, you can see that the Roomba can detect when a dustbin's full and go back to its docking station. Now I've tested a bunch of robot vacuums that offer the self-emptying bin, and no other robot vacuum has these capabilities, so you can see how the Roomba can quickly fill up its dustbin, go back to its docking station, and then resume exactly where it left off. So the Roomba is a great option if you have a very messy household. Maybe you have a lot of pets, maybe you have a bird that likes to spread the bird seed. Well, this would be a good robot vacuum for you. Now let's see how well these robot vacuums handle obstacles. You can see that the Roomba doesn't have any front-facing technology, kind of like on the Yeedi Vac Station, but both robot vacuums do a pretty good job just kind of pushing the objects out of the way. I don't think both these robot vacuums could cause any real damage unless it's very delicate objects. But with the Yeedi Vac Station, you do have the option to do a keep out zone, so you can avoid this area entirely. So let's see how well the Yeedi Vac Station does. So like the Roomba, the Yeedi Vac Station doesn't have any object recognition technology in the front, so it does occasionally bump into the object and may push them around, but you can see that upside down water bottle towards the back there doesn't knock it over, so it's pretty gentle cleaner. So if I had to choose one, what navigates the best, well, I'll probably go with the Yeedi Vac Station, just because it has that camera system that can keep track of where it cleaned and where it needs to clean. So I think it does a little bit better job tracking these objects and kind of going around these objects. Okay, let's go ahead and compare the self-emptying bin technologies on both the robot vacuums. Now, both robot vacuums do have disposable bags, which should last about 30 to 60 days, and they typically hold about 30 dustbin full worth of dirt. Now, for the Roomba, it does have a single extractor port, whereas on the Yeedi Vac Station has a dual extractor port. Okay, so one thing to note is on the Roombas you do have this air sensor. So what this air sensor does is it actually detects if there's a clog, so it can actually try to unclog itself up to, I believe, 4 times. So that's something that's very unique to the Roombas. I don't think the Yeedi Vac Station has this, but let's go and check out the dustbin here. Now, for the Roombas, it's a rear loading dustbin, and on the Yeedi Vac Station, it's a top loading system. And you may notice some dirt and debris that's collected in the dustbin. I wouldn't worry too much about it. They typically do leave some debris behind, but as you run these robot vacuums, they'll keep the dust and debris down. Okay, let me show you one feature that the Yeedi Vac Station has that the Roomba doesn't have. Okay, so let's look at the mopping system. It's pretty simple if you ever use a mopping robot. You do have this mopping plate, which you can remove the mopping pad. It is washable. I do recommend washing the mopping pad, just like pre-wetting it. You just kind of start with the water flow. Now, once you put it on the plate, there's like a little groove here. You just kind of slip it on in the back here. And then the top part's held on by Velcro. So this part should be good to go. And now all we have to do is just fill up the water tank. Right there. I do recommend warm or cold water. Don't use chemicals because you could damage the hoses and the pump right there. Once you got the tank all filled up, I do put the water tank in first. Next, we'll put in the mopping plate. There's actually 2 holes right here. And it should just snap in.
Mopping plate has been installed.
And the robot will let you know when both components are ready to go. Cool. Let's go and check this out. So one unique feature of the Yeedi Vac Station is the active carpet sensor. So with this sensor, it allows it to actively avoid carpets while mopping. This is great if you have a lot of area rugs. Kind of hard to set up no mopping zones with these area rugs, kind of hard to position. So with this active carpet sensor, it's really easy to avoid mopping your carpets. Secondly, this carpet sensor allows it to boost up its suction up to 3000 pascals while it's vacuuming. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the two applications side by side. We got the iRobot, we got the Yeedi. Let me know what graphic you like best. Okay, once we jump into it, you notice the little graphics on the iRobot. I think that's a kind of a cute animation. Now for the Yeedi Vac Station, you do have two quick toggles or shortcuts. So once we jump into the history, you can actually see both roll-up vacuums have the ability to see a live static map of the roll-up vacuum. You can see that where the roll-up vacuum's been, how long it took, and also the time it took. Now for the iRobot, you do have the ability to see how many times it went back to its docking station to empty itself. Now both roll-up vacuums do have the settings, and you can add a robot through the iRobot application here. And with the iRobot application, you can add smart home, you can account privacy, and you can go to the store directly. Now for the Yeedi Vac Station, you do have the ability to add a new robot by swiping off to the right. Okay, so here's the main interface. You notice they're vastly different. For the Vac Station, you do have two additional toggles. You got area and custom. So over to the areas, you can actually see the maps color coded. So you can actually select the maps or the areas and the roll-up vacuum will go in that order. Or you do have the option to remove the sequencing and just have it do it automatically. Now you notice you can have the roll-up vacuum clean once or twice. This is something you cannot do on the Roombas. And additionally, you have some additional settings like virtual wall boundary, and you also can rename your areas. So with the virtual wall boundaries, you have the ability to create little squares or rectangles, and the roll-up vacuum will avoid those areas. So for example, water bowls, maybe fragile instruments, you can have the roll-up vacuum avoid that. So for the Roombas, you do have to get a virtual wall boundary or virtual lighthouse, which is a battery-operated device that can create a halo or a wall and block off that area. You can see you can create names, but unfortunately you cannot create custom names. Okay, so you can also delete the map, and let's jump back into the main menu of the Yeedi Vac Station. Now, if we go to custom, it's just like an area select where you can tell the roll-up vacuum to go to a certain area. Alright, so for the Roomba, it's very basic. There's nothing really to it. Basically, up to the top right, you can just start a new job, or if you do favorites, you can tell the roll-up vacuum to go to a certain time to clean, and that's the time it will go and then stop. So very cool. Okay, so you do have a cleaning schedule. Both roll-up vacuums offer that, but I think iRobot did a little bit better job. It's a little bit easier to set up, and I just really like the interface on the iRobot. But both roll-up vacuums, you could actually tell a certain time and date. And also with the Yeedi Vac Station, you do have the option to do area select as well. Okay, so let's go into the robot settings. Nothing too crazy on the iRobot, but for the Yeedi Vac Station, you have a lot of features like the auto boost suction. You have the auto empty. Now for the cleaning sequence, that's what I just talked about, where you can have it go to certain rooms automatically, or you can tell it to go to specific rooms in that order. So that's a really nice touch on the Yeedi Vac Station. Also, you can change the power levels and also the mopping levels, and you can see that they have a history of when to change the accessories. Now, I don't notice this on the Roomba, but keep in mind, Roomba like to keep it very simple, but it works well. Okay, so that's basically it. There's a lot of great features on the Yeedi Vac Station that iRobot doesn't have, but iRobot takes a different route and makes it a very simplistic, easy to use application. Alright, let's keep on going with this video, and I'll give you my final thoughts. Well, if you're the type of person that wants an easy-to-use roll-up vacuum with not a lot of thrills and frills in the application, well, the Roomba i4 Plus shouldn't disappoint. With its well-thought-out design, also the rubber dual extractor bars are really easy to clean. I felt like they're very easy to clean off the pet hair. I think this should be a good roll-up vacuum. Also can handle a lot of dirt and debris. Now, if you're the type of person that wants every feature in the book, well, the Yeedi Vac Station is the roll-up vacuum for you. With its camera-based navigation, also has the vacuuming and mopping capabilities, and you can change vacuum levels, mopping levels. Well, I don't think there's any feature left out. Okay, let's talk about the downsides of each of the roll-up vacuums, starting with the Yeedi Vac Station. One of the things that is quite loud, especially on its max power mode, also does have a dirt detection sensor, so the roll-up vacuum cannot detect when its dustbin is full, so you do have to keep an eye on that. Okay, so the biggest downside to the Roomba is the lack of features. I think one of the biggest features that it lacks is the ability to change power levels. I really think you should have that option, but for the most part, I do like the Roomba, and both of your vacuums have no problem navigating low light conditions, so if you have it down in the basement, you shouldn't have any issues. So my final thoughts are definitely try out these roll-up vacuums. Even though I test them in my own home, sometimes your vacuums may perform better in your home than my home and vice versa. So definitely check them out. They usually have like a 30-day money back guarantee. I will put the links down below. Well, I just want to give you guys a huge shout out. You guys are awesome. So if you guys are still with me, well, thanks so much for watching this entire video. Really does help me out. And if you can, give me a big old thumbs up if you like this video because it helps rank in the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new to my videos, well, welcome. My name's Nathan. I've been doing a lot of cool vacuum reviews for the last year or so, and I definitely have tried a bunch of different models out. So if you have any questions about these vacuums, feel free to shoot a comment down below. I will put the links of both these models if you're interested in buying these guys. Okay, so again, if you want the simplistic vacuum, the i4 Plus is not a bad option. And you're probably wondering what's the difference between the i4 Plus and i3 Plus. Well, the main difference is just the battery life. So for the i4 Plus, it's 90 minutes, and for the Yeedi Vac Station, it's 200 minutes. Yes, 200 minutes. That's craziness. Alright, so have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you guys next time, and be safe out there. Adios.